Hello, everyone. I'm Christine Chen. Welcome to Esalen Live on Facebook Live. It has been a worrisome few days. So many good wishes coming in for the Esalen Institute and everyone up and down the California coast. Joining us right now is Terry Gilbey, the CEO of Esalen Institute. We just want to invite you to say hello to the community who's been sending in good wishes. Hi there, Terry. How's it going?
It's good, Christine. Thank you. Yes, hello, everybody. And really just want to take a moment at the beginning of this to say thank you. Thank you to all of the words of support that we've received, especially to all of our first responders, particularly to Big Sur Fire, to Cal Fire, to the U.S. Forestry Service firefighters, and everybody on the ground, to the sheriffs, the CHP, and a special shout out to the Vandenberg Air Force Base fire team that actually came up to cover one of our properties for us. So just huge debt of gratitude to all of those people. So thank you.
It 100% takes a community in a situation like this. And since it's the first time that we are hearing from you and anyone actually within the Esalen organization about what it was like to get evacuated, can you take us through what happened, like when you got the call to say it's safer for you to leave, and then how that process was? I mean, you mentioned so many teams helped you all out. Can you explain that or describe that or bring us to that moment a little bit?
Sure. Yes, I was actually just standing in my kitchen when facilities director came and knocked on the door, and we looked out over the ridge to the east of Esalen, and we could see the glow of the fire, which had started down in Dolan Canyon, not maybe a mile to our south. We pretty quickly pulled everybody together, recognizing the severity of the risk there. And it was within a couple of hours that we made the decision to move everybody north off of the main property. Literally, fire had come over the ridge and was coming down the hill towards Esalen. And for those of you who have been to Esalen and know it well, if you were to stand at the top of our driveway, right where the entrance is on Highway 1, and were to look up that mountain, you would have seen fire on that hillside right there and then. So we made the decision to move everybody to a property about 1.5 miles up the road, which is where everybody spent the night, hunkered down in a multitude of different ways. A couple of people slept in cars, a couple of people bedded down on the floor of different rooms. And then that morning, recognizing the fire was continuing to come north quite aggressively, and in consultation with the first responders there, we made the decision to start to move people out of the area entirely in waves, trying to make sure that we could do it in an orderly fashion during daylight, knowing that all the indicators were that the fire would reach a little area called South Coast by nightfall, and we certainly didn't want to be trying to manage an evacuation during the dark. So it was actually a kind of a very careful and thoughtful, proactive evacuation. And just the staff were truly amazing in terms of collecting together the necessary belongings, not knowing how long we would be out. And it turns out that we've now been out, I guess, over a week. It's gone very quickly, but we've been out over a week, and Esalen is safe. I'm happy to report I was able, CHP gave us permission to go south and to do a reconnoiter, an assessment on the property, and we did a very quick one. But yeah, so we are all safe here up in Carmel. And again, my gratitude to the hotel that has been supporting us through this. We've got most of the staff here, and then we'll see how things are when we finally get back down there.
Yeah, well, that is the most important thing, that everyone is safe, right? And I just want to share some of these pictures. These are some of the first pictures that I've been receiving. Are you able to see that, Terry?
I am, yes.
Okay. So these are some of the pictures that we received this morning. I think these were taken yesterday. So as we go through some of these, can you just describe what you were seeing? And like, anything is valid here. This is a place that is close to so many people's hearts. So just the visual of what the proximity is to the Esalen Institute is probably just evoking quite a bit of thoughts and feelings from you and the staff. Can you convey those to us?
Yeah, sure. In fact, these pictures are almost a week old now. So if you were to look at this today, this would be a complete moonscape on that hillside. So this particular picture is taken from down outside the bookstore in the circle there, looking east towards the mountainside. And that entire mountainside was engulfed in fire, which came all the way down to Highway 1. Again, I salute the firefighters who kept all of the fire on the east side of Highway 1, which is short of a miracle when you were there to feel the intensity and heat of that. But that entire hillside has completely burned.
So, Terry, just to be clear, this whole thing that we see in green is gone.
Well, if you were to kind of go to about the middle of the picture there, where you can see the smoke, that smoke is just above Highway 1. So as we're looking east, Christine, you're actually seeing in the foreground, you're seeing the Esalen property, which goes uphill to Highway 1. And then the hillside that you see in the background that's kind of a little smoked in and covered in smoke, that has all burned, and that is on the east side of Highway 1.
Got it. So, some of these pictures, like, it's hard for anyone who hasn't been in a situation that's close to this to understand how the air feels. And you can kind of see it in this picture, but can you describe what that was like, just the ability to try to breathe during this process of evacuation? And right now with the air quality, what that's like?
Absolutely. So we were fortunate enough to have some masks on hand. Our maintenance department tends to keep a really good set of preparedness, but you definitely needed to wear masks. The smoke was quite thick. It was burning to the edge of Highway 1, which is probably only a couple of 100 meters from the main area of the property down the hill. And there was ash in the air when we were able to get down with CHP approval on Friday of last week, 7 days ago, I guess. Today's Friday, goodness. There was just a small carpet of ash. It looked almost as if it had snowed across the property, and the air was thick. You could feel it in your eyes, and we had to be very, very careful. And this was one of the reasons that we actually evacuated people out. People were safe, but the quality of air was really bad. And so and that is going to be one of our guiding factors before we take even an advanced team down to do damage assessment. We have to have good air quality.
Yeah, keeping everyone safe as the recovery process continues. And from what I understand, what you told me, there is a little bit of recovery that needs to happen. This particular bridge is special. You can see a flame in the background. Can you describe this picture of a flame encroaching upon an entry to Esalen with Tibetan flags?
Sure. So, I think many people who have been to Esalen would recognize this picture. This is looking up the canyon into the east, and this is the very first footbridge across that canyon. I'm sad to report that our early assessments show that we've actually had some fire damage to this bridge. The fire got down to this bridge. This was taken a little earlier than when we were there on Friday. We've also lost a lot of our infrastructure that was in the canyon that supplies all of the drinking water for Esalen. So it is going to take some substantial work to both replace that drinking water infrastructure and this footbridge and several other pieces of infrastructure that are damaged up in the canyon. The fire came quite a ways down the canyon. We're seeing it in its very early days, in fact.
You mentioned water, and I've stopped sharing those photos right now. I do hear these great stories about the people coming together, people part of the community living close by, just pitching in. And I heard a really heartwarming story about a guy named Thomas saving the water tanks. Now that you mentioned water, can you tell us that story or give us a little bit of an idea of what happened? Because it sounds like he just really stepped up.
It's an amazing story, and for some of you may know Thomas. Thomas was the manager of our grounds department prior to our COVID-19 closure, and is also a longtime member of Big Sur Fire. It is just amazing how that group came together. They defended water towers that are so critical to reopening. And there are pictures that have been shared with me of the Big Sur Fire team and Thomas right there in amongst the flames, pushing them back from our such valuable water towers. And on Friday, during that early assessment, we were able to get up there, and the level of burn around those, had they not been there, we would have lost all of our water infrastructure, and that would have set us back. I actually can't even imagine what that setback would have been. Those towers have been there so long. They have served Esalen so well, and it would have been an extremely enormous challenge to have to replace those at this point.
Right. So in the middle of all this, as is in life, there's always something to be grateful for. So Thomas, the water tanks, the community, lack of further damage. Obviously, these are all things I'm sure you're grateful for. How are you feeling in general? This is such a special place. You work with such special people. Can you give us an idea of like what's in your heart right now as we look ahead in the next few days?
Thank you. That's such a beautiful question. I am just filled with gratitude, frankly. The staff, the way people have come together, the words of support that we've received from the outside world, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, they have just been so generous and caring of all of the evacuees from all of the fires. Just in awe of what Big Sur Fire and those teams have done. Just immense gratitude, just immense gratitude. It's immeasurable, honestly. And, you know, I'm sure that once we get back down there and start to look at what damage we may have sustained and start to make our plans, yeah, those feelings might shift to other feelings. But right now, just sitting with a deep sense of gratitude, and we're incredibly fortunate, incredibly fortunate. So Esalen's a magical place, and I think some of that magic kept it safe, as well as the very hard work of all of those firefighters and first responders.
Sure, and magic is also because of the people that contribute to the positive energy of a place like Esalen, and the most important asset is its people. So all things being safe with people, it's all good, right? Everything else is fixable. What is expected in the next few days as we think about repair, recovery, reopening? Just give us a hint. I know that there's a lot more work to be done to find out exactly what's happening, but can you say what's happening today and maybe in the next couple of days, what the plan is anyway?
Sure. You know, it's difficult to plan in a situation where we don't have a lot of information, but what I can share is that we're taking a safety first approach. So as soon as we've got approval from the sheriff and the Unified Command, and we have good air quality down at Esalen, we will start to send in a small group of our facilities team to start the assessment work. It's probably they're probably not going to be able to stay overnight to begin with. We don't know what the power and water situation is on any of our locations. We've got some ideas, but we don't know for sure. So that will be the first job, is to make sure that we've got power, we've got good drinking water, and that we can support life and safety there. Once we've done that, we will begin to move back another additional small group of people, and we'll begin the work of restoring the systems on the main property. We know that the damage to the water system on the main property is significant. That is going to take some time to repair, and we'll be bringing in some contractors that will have to help us do that. It's tough work. It's on difficult terrain, and the first thing we have to do is get in and clear what could still be actually some burning trees. These fires burn for a long time once they get into these big old trees. So that will be our priority. And then as soon as we can support the staff coming back, we'll get as many of the staff back as quickly as we can. We'll start the cleanup activities. I think it's going to take a lot of work to clean up the campus. We'll need to go through each and every single room and make sure that we've aired it out and make a list of any damage that has been done while we've been away from the property. And then after that, of course, it's prepare to welcome people back to Esalen, which I hope to do very, very soon. Very soon. We were so blessed to be able to have 2 great weekends right before the fire, and that's going to come back. Esalen will return.
The positive attitude, it's sometimes really hard to hang on to because it feels like the world we live in right now is full of a bunch of stops and starts in the midst of COVID, in the midst of everything. We have so much going on in America, California in general, that we're just going to do our best to stay the course. What's really important right now to know for the Esalen community, because of all these things that are unknown right now? What can you share with us that can give us a little hope that this is going to happen sooner than later?
Yeah. I think number one, which is what I've been waking up with pretty much every day, is just knowing that all of the staff are safe. We've sustained minimal damage, as I said, and I think if everything lines up, we're going to be back within a matter of a few weeks, months, maybe a couple of months on the outside, if we can get all of this work done. It's going to depend a little bit on how much we find when we do our detailed assessments, but we are looking forward to getting back open, having people back on the land. The land has had an opportunity to rest during COVID. It was great to have some guests and some seminarians back when we reopened for those 2 weekends. It was amazing to have a small workshop on property that last weekend that we were open. And we're going to get back to that as soon as we can.
Well, everyone's sending good wishes. And for those of you who are continuing to send good wishes, keep them coming. We'll take them. Absolutely. And Terry, you and I will stay in touch to see if there's anything to share tomorrow on Facebook Live to give people an idea of what you might have discovered in a day. I mean, things change in 24 hours, even less so. So let's definitely keep in touch. Thank you, Terry.
Look forward to it. And Christine, thank you. And to everybody out there, I just a deep, deep appreciation for all of your support and all of the energy that you're sending our way. So thank you.
Yeah. From everyone at Esalen, stay connected on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll be back with more information anytime that we have it. Thank you so much, Terry.
Okay. Bye-bye.